Good afternoon, friends. Hope you all have a good lunch at home. After lunch session is there, but we have a very great speaker with us, CACS Samruddhi Lunawat. It's my proud privilege to introduce her in our session, today's session, LLP Settlement Scheme and Companies Fresh Start Scheme. It's a new area for professionals, great opportunity for learn and have a clean up the companies and LLPs as a one-time measure by the government. So kindly take the benefit of all. And would like to tell you all, kindly join our WhatsApp group also, specifically created for this event, for this webinar. So if you have, anybody has not got the WhatsApp link, kindly inform me. We'll share the link. We'll also add our faculty in that group. You can take the benefit of one-to-one interaction or any query solving, and also networking between the members. Let me introduce our today's speaker, CA Samruddhi Lunawat. She is a member of Chartered Accountant Institute, Company Secretary Institute. She has done post-qualification degree in Information System Audit and Forensic Accounting and Fraud Detection (FAFD) course by ICAI. She has also completed concurrent audit course from Audit of Banks course from the ICAI. She has qualified MCOM also and LLB also. We have she has a multiple qualification. We are highly obliged to organize this session for the benefit of all the members with the faculty. Present occupation: she is the founder of Lunawat and Associate as a practicing company secretary, proprietorship firm in Aurangabad. She has appeared before tribunal direct tax and indirect tax matters, including assessment and appeals. Also carry out bank statutory audit assignment. She is associated qualified CA, CMA and LLM also. She has a huge other professional exposure as well, associated with other. She is very active in all the seminar, regional conference, sub-regional conference. At present, she is secretary of Aurangabad chapter of ICASI for the year 2019-20, and she is also at present managing committee member of Aurangabad chapter of ICSI. She is also faculty at GMCS and communication skill for Institute of Company Secretary of India. Also faculty for oral coaching at ICSI. Panelist for discussion on budget for the year 2019 as well as 20 at AM News channel. She has published article in newsletter of Aurangabad branch of WRC of ICI on various issues relating to Companies Act. So with this introduction, would like to welcome you, CA Samruddhi Lunawat. CA Samruddhi Lunawat. Next 1 hour session is absolutely yours. LLP settlement scheme and Companies Fresh Start scheme. Thank you so much.
Sir. Thank you, sir, for such a brief introduction. I would like to thank CA Virag Shah and CA Abhishek Shah, who are organizers of this webinar. During lockdown period also, they have taken an initiative to organize such useful seminars so that our professional colleagues will get updated. It is indeed appreciable. It's really, sir, an appreciable job you are doing. It also builds a platform for budding speakers like us. And again, it is source of knowledge for participants as well. So let us move towards our today's webinar discussion on LLP settlement scheme and company fresh start scheme. Participants, I would like to tell you that after my PPT gets complete, we will take questions from your side. And I have also framed some questions. If you all are comfortable, then we can take that question also. So let us start with the seminar. Firstly, reason why this scheme was introduced. COVID-19 was not only the reason, but definitely it was one of the reasons. Why it is said that ministry has taken a giant step in its history by introducing these schemes. Let us go one step backward and Let us see in past which amnesty schemes were introduced by ministry. Like in 2011, company law settlement scheme was introduced, in which companies were required to pay 25% additional fees and file the pending returns. Here also, some portion of additional fees was required to be paid. Likewise, in 2011 also, CODS 2018, that is Condonation of Delay Scheme 2018 was introduced, wherein companies were allowed to file only 20 forms in one ECODS 2018 form, for which the filing fees was rupees 30,000 for set of 20 forms. In these schemes, penalty used to be waived, but penalty used to be waived off and no prosecution would be done. But additional fees was never ever waived. Many representations from stakeholders, professionals, and institutions were received by the ministry for granting some relief to LLPs and companies from burden of being for burden of per day any additional fees who have not filed the returns within time. So ministry has taken the representations and introduced the LLP settlement scheme on 4th March 2020 with an intent to reduce the compliance burden on LLPs by making a fresh start by clearing all the non-compliances on account of non-filings made by the LLPs registered in India. So friends, original scheme was restricted to only 4 forms, that is form number 3, 4, 8 and 11 of LLP that can be filed under this scheme. And later on, that too, in original scheme, additional fees of rupees 10 per day for delay subject to rupees 5,000 additional fees per document was required to be paid. As ministry introduced the CFSS 2020 for companies where additional fees is fully waived off, keeping in view the pandemic situation and hardships that were faced by LLPs, this benefit was also extended to LLPs and accordingly this scheme was modified on 30th March. So overall we can conclude here that in the history, this is the first time the additional fees waiver for company and LLP is introduced. So friends, for introduction of any scheme, we need some governing provisions which can introduce such schemes. So here are two governing provisions, that is section 403 and section 460 of the Companies Act. Let us move towards the slide. I hope you all are visible. You can see the slide. Participants are visible. They can see the slide, I hope. Let's read section 403. Section 403 talks about fees, additional fees and penalty and even offensive prosecution in case of late filing of ROC documents. Like if we are filing documents within time, then what will be the fees? And if it is filed beyond the time, then what will be the additional fees, penalty and prosecution? So it is given in rules. The numericals are given in rules. Therefore, government has given chance to complete filings under CFSS without any additional fees. Let's move towards section 460, which is governing provision. That is, section 460 talks about condonation of delay in certain cases. Section 460 starts with notwithstanding anything contained in this section. This section itself starts with notwithstanding word. It means that it is overruling the other sections. It is overruling the entire Companies Act. It is the most powerful section in the Act, where any application required to be made to the central government under any provision of this scheme, under any provision of this Act in respect of any matter is not made within the prescribed time therein, that government may, for reasons to be recorded in writing, condone the delay. And where any document is required to be filed with the registrar under any provisions of this Act is not filed within time prescribed therein, the central government may, for reasons to be recorded in writing, condone the delay. Now friends, what is difference between application and document? I will give you an example with regards to Companies Act. We can simply say that application is made before complying any provision, whereas documentation is filed after complying with the provisions. Now let's take an example. Say Mr. X is to be appointed as the managing director of a company. For that purpose, we need to comply with provisions of Section 5 of the Companies Act. And if company fails to, suppose if company fails to comply with the provisions of Section 5 of the Companies Act, then we need to make application to government in form MR2. And after the approval is received, we can appoint Mr. X as a managing director of the company. So here we are making application. We are making application for granting permission. So this is an application. Now what is referred to as a document? Document is filed after complying with the provision. For appointing a managing director, there are various compliances required to be made, like preparation of appointment letter, resolutions to be passed, and lot many documents. So here we are preparing documents. Then all documents are filed with ROC in form DIR 12. In form DIR 12 with ROC. So document here is a proof. So I hope now you are clear with what is application and what is document. So government has power to condone the delay, and under this section only, government has introduced these schemes so that all the pending previous filings of active companies can be filed under this CFSS and LLPSS scheme. Moving towards the next slide, what is the objective of this scheme? Behind every scheme, there is some objective. So let's see what are the objectives of the scheme. First is to incentivize the compliances. Means to incentivize the compliances with regards to additional filing fees won't be required to be paid by the company. Second is to reduce compliance burden during COVID-19 pandemic, to reduce financial burden in paying additional fees for delay filings. Next is to update records with MCA. Friends, there are many companies which have not done their annual filing since long. So MCA also does not have their updated records. So it is very necessary that companies which are having pending files can file their forms under this scheme, to give an opportunity before taking any stern action later on for non-compliant entities. This is first time MCA has introduced such scheme. So it is better to file and take benefit of this scheme rather than facing the prosecutions and penalties after this scheme gets over. What is the benefit of opting this scheme? Firstly, there is a chance to become compliant company without paying any additional fees. Like if this scheme would not have been come, then companies have to pay per day 100 rupees, and this penalty used to go around 50, 60, 70,000 for delay of filing of 2 to 3 years. So this is the primary benefit of this scheme. Second is granting of immunity from prosecution. And third, grant penalty. So penalty, prosecution, additional fees. These three won't be levied under the if you opt for CFSS. Fourth is withdrawal of all the proceedings of adjudication of penalties under Section 454 of the Companies Act. These are 5 important circulars which needs to be kept in mind before opting for this scheme. Circular number 1, that is, it is notification issued on 19th March, and its related circular is also circular number 11/2020, which talks about amendments in conduct of board meeting and gap between 2 board meetings. We will see in detail. Second circular is regarding CSR fund, spending of CSR expenditure. Third is regarding, it is a master circular where 8 changes have been made, where some are for extension, some are for extension of time period. So majorly they are relating to extension of time period only. So third circular is at utmost importance. Purely for company fresh startup scheme. And fifth circular is for LLP settlement scheme. For LLP settlement, 2 circulars were issued. One was originally issued on 4th March, wherein LLPs were required to pay rupees 10 as additional fees and rupees 5,000 as we have seen in introduction. And for companies, modification scheme was also introduced, wherein no additional fees was required to be paid. Now notification, we are going to see first notification, that is on 19th March it was issued. See, as per section 173, every company, that is except small companies and OPCs, are required to conduct minimum 4 board meetings in a financial year, and maximum gap between 2 board meetings should not exceed 120 days. This was the provision under Companies Act. Now, as there is a lockdown, it is not possible to conduct board meeting with presence of directors, and therefore 2 amendments were made. One is the gap between 2 board meetings has been extended up to 180 days till next 2 quarter. That is for June and September quarter ending. That is till September, the gap between 2 board meetings can be up to 180 days. This is mentioned in circular, master circular, where there are 8 changes made. And secondly, MC has also amended the company's meeting of board and its powers rule 2014 and allowed companies to hold the meeting through video conferencing or other audio visual means in accordance with rule 3 for specified 5 items, where earlier they were not allowed to hold these 5 items through video conferencing. Which are those? Let us see. The approval of annual financial statements, approval of board's report, third is approval of prospectus, fourth is audit committee meeting for approval of financials, and fifth is approval of matters relating to amalgamation, merger, demerger, acquisition, and takeover. So if your meeting is falling due between 19th March to 30th June, then you can conduct these transactions through video conferencing mode also. Now let us move towards the next circular, which is regarding CSR. There were many circular number 10 was issued, wherein only it was stated that any expenditure made for COVID fund relating to health sanitization was included in Schedule 7. But again, there was some confusion between the companies, professionals. So recently on 10th April, MCA has issued one circular number 15, wherein it has clarified many things regarding which type of expenditure will qualify for CSR expenditure. So let us take one by one. Whether contribution made to PM CARES fund shall qualify as CSR expenditure. So yes, it will definitely qualify as expenditure under item 8 of the Schedule 7 of Companies Act. Next is whether contribution made to Chief Minister Relief Fund or State Relief Fund for COVID-19 shall qualify as CSR expenditure. See, now it has not been included in Schedule 7, and neither any circular for the same is issued. So presently it is not included in, it will not qualify as CSR expenditure. Now next is third is whether contribution made to State Disaster Management Authority shall qualify as CSR expenditure. So it will be qualifying as a CSR expenditure under entry number 12 of Schedule 7 of the Companies Act. Next is whether spending of CSR fund for COVID related activities shall qualify as CSR expenditure. Yes, it will qualify as CSR expenditure, and it can be covered under, it should have been covered under Schedule 7 of the Companies Act from item 1 to 12. Whether payment of salaries or wages to employees and workers, including contract labor, casual or daily wage workers during lockdown period, can be adjusted against the CSR expenditure of the company. See, this is actually government has told that during lockdown period also employees salary has to be paid. So it is a contractual obligation and also it is a statutory obligation. So it is moral duty of the employer to pay them during lockdown also. So company cannot get benefit of it by paying a salary to employees. So it won't be qualifying for CSR expenditure. Whether payment of ex gratia to temporary, casual or daily wage workers shall qualify as expenditure. Yes, it will qualify as expenditure subject to over and above. If payment is made over and above the disbursement of wages, means if you are paying over and above the wages, and it should be for the purpose of fighting with COVID-19, then the same would be admissible under CSR as expenditure, and there should be a board resolution be passed for it, and approval of statutory auditor, certification of statutory auditor will be required regarding this expenditure. Now, in circular number 11, it is stated that it is a golden opportunity to make a fresh start on a clean slate. Now, we will see what is a fresh start and what is a clean slate. Fresh start refers to, see, now we have already not filed any of the forms. If a company has not filed since 2-3 years any of the forms, then company is giving them an opportunity to make a, पहले का सब भूल जाओ, अभी से नई शुरुआत करो. इसको बोलते हैं गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू मेक अ फ्रेश स्टार्ट. मीन्स पहले जो तुमने किया है उसको सब भूल जाओ अभी, और अभी एक न्यू स्टार्ट करो. So what is this scheme all about? Let's see Master Circular number 11, which was issued on 24th March 2020. It deals with, there are 8 points mentioned in this circular where changes are made. Firstly, there won't be any additional fees charged for late filing during a moratorium period from 1st April 2020 to 30th September 2020. Means for 6 months, if you are filing any document, a list of 76 forms are displayed on MCA portal. You can very well check that list of forms, and if you are filing any of these forms, then you won't be required to pay any additional fees in respect of any document, return, statement required to be filed in MCA registry, irrespective of its due date, which will not only reduce the compliance burden, including financial burden of companies or LLPs at large, but also enable long outstanding non-compliant companies or LLPs to make a fresh start. So this is the first change. Second is gap between 2 consecutive meetings of board has been extended to 180 days till next 2 quarters. That is till 30th September 2020. The earlier, as per provisions of Income Tax Act, gap between 2 board meetings should not exceed 120 days. Now it has been extended by 60 days. That is totaling to 180 days. Third is applicability of companies auditors report 2020 has been made applicable from financial year 2020-21. Next is, as per Schedule 4 of the Companies Act 2013, independent directors are required to hold at least 1 board meeting without attendance of non-independent directors and members of management. So as due to lockdown, it is not possible to conduct such meeting. For financial year 1920, if independent directors of a company has not been able to hold even 1 meeting, the same shall not be treated as violation of the law. Fifth is compliance with regards to creation of deposit repayment reserve and making of investment or deposit for debentures maturing has been extended up to 30th June 2020. Sixth is for newly incorporated companies. Companies are required to file declaration for commencement of business within 6 months from its date of incorporation. But now the time period of 6 months has been extended with an additional time period of 6 months. That is 1 year shall be allowed since incorporation for filing Form 20A, that is commencement of business declaration. Non-compliance of minimum residency in India for period of at least 182 days by at least 1 director of every company under 149 of the Companies Act was required to be maintained. But as there is complete lockdown, it is not possible for the director who is not in India to travel to India and comply with this provision. So now it has been reduced. Now this provision has been benefited to the companies where director are not in India for at minimum 182 days. It won't be treated as violation of the provisions of the law. Now this General Circular number 12, which is regarding CFSs, who is to whom this scheme is applicable. See, now this scheme is applicable to defaulting companies, to inactive companies, to directors whose DIN have been marked as deactivated due to non-filing of DIR 3 KYC or DIR 3 KYC web, and companies whose compliance status has been marked as active non-compliant due to non-filing of active e-form, to LLPs. So actually this LLP is for other, it is not covered under circular number 12, it is covered under another circular. First 4 points are regarding CFSs only. So what is, firstly we will see what is mean by defaulting company. Defaulting company means a company which is defined under Companies Act 2013 and which has made a default in filing of any of the documents, statement, returns, etc., including statutory documents on MCA registry. Definition of company, defaulting company, inactive company, all these definitions are already stated in circular. So now in what is a company? As per circular, it is given that company defined under section 2 subsection 20 of the Companies Act. But now there is a question whether foreign companies are allowed to take benefit of this scheme. So because foreign companies defined under section 2 subsection 42 of the Act. So whether these companies, apparently by reading the circular, foreign companies cannot take benefit of this scheme. But in MCA webinars also, ministry representatives have clarified it, and in a list of Form 76 forms which are available on MCA portal, they have also made it very, very clear that it is also applicable to foreign companies, because Form FC 1, 2, 3, these all are included in list of 76. So foreign company will definitely next is inactive company. So third is two directors whose DIN have been marked as deactivated due to non-filing of DIR 3 KYC or DIR 3. For third point, directors whose DIN have been of DIR 3 KYC or KYC web, they can definitely take benefit under this scheme without paying any additional fees. And the companies who have not filed their active form, they can file the active form without any additional fees, and if any filing is pending, they can very well take benefit of this scheme. Now, whom it is not applicable, to whom this scheme is not applicable, I have already stated regarding foreign company, it is applicable to foreign company also. Second, application for strike off under section 248 of the Companies Act has been made. If company has made application for striking off of the name, then if company is going to strike off, then how, then why to give immunity to such company who is striking off its name? So it is excluded from it. Third is action for striking off has been initiated by ROC. If ROC is striking off the company, then there is something severe default. So for these companies also, it is not, the scheme is not applicable. For companies which has filed application, for companies which are amalgamated, which is amalgamated company. If company is amalgamated, then its earlier existence comes to end. So companies which is under process of amalgamating, though to them also this scheme is not applicable. Company who have filed application for dormancy under section 455, then also this scheme is not applicable. We will see in detail about dormancy company. Company which is a vanishing company. Now, what is a vanishing company? It is not defined under any of the companies, any of the sections of the Companies Act, but identification of vanishing company has been established by one committee that is known as Coordination and Monitoring Committee, that is CMC, established by government. So according to them, if these ingredients are then there, then it can be identified as a vanishing company. First is who have failed to file returns with registrar of ROC or SEBI for a period of 2 years, and it is not maintaining its registered office of the company at address notified with the registrar of companies, and none of its director are traceable. Then in such case, this type of company will be treated as a vanishing company, and it won't take benefit of the scheme. Forms relating to increase in authorized share capital and related to charge, that is form SS7, and all CHG forms are not included in this scheme. Means the list of 76 forms does not contain SS7 and charge forms. And also LLPs which have made application for strike off of the company, strike off of LLP is not allowed to take benefit under the scheme. What is a dormant company? As per section 455 of the Act, where a company is formed and registered under this Act for a future project or to hold an asset or intellectual property and has no significant accounting transaction, such a company or an inactive company may make an application to the registrar in such manner as may be prescribed for obtaining the status of a dormant company. Now, what is an inactive company? Inactive company means a company which has not been carrying on any business or operation or has not made any significant accounting transaction during the last 2 financial years or has not filed financial statements and annual returns during the last 2 financial years. So it is known as inactive company. And what are significant accounting transactions? Means transactions other than those mentioned in ABCD. Means any transaction other than payment of fees by a company to the registrar, payment made by it to fulfill any requirement of the Act, or allotment of share to fulfill the requirement of this Act, or payment for its maintenance of office and record. So these transactions won't be treated as significant accounting transactions. If other than these transactions are taken, then it would be treated as a significant accounting transaction. Now, before going to this slide, we will once again revise what is an inactive company. So inactive company is basically where there is no business or operation. Secondly, has not made any significant accounting transaction during last 2 financial years. What is mean of what is excluded from significant accounting transaction? Those 4 categories have been given, and has not filed financial statements and annual returns during the last 2 financial years. These 3 categories companies are treated as inactive companies. Now, how it allows to be a compliant company? Means by opting this scheme, how a company can become a compliant company? By allowing the defaulting active company to file all type of delayed forms, statement, documents, returns, including financial statements, balance sheet, and annual returns. Means by filing all the delayed forms without paying additional fees, a defaulting company can become an active company. But immunity from prosecution and penal proceeding, they will be immunized from prosecution and penal proceeding only related to default in filing of forms. If there is any contravention of law, then this scheme does not provide any immunity. To provide additional time of 120 days for filing appeals, appeal we will see in next coming slides. To file Form CFSS 2020 without any fees, maximum within 6 months from closure of the scheme, but after the documents are taken on record. You have to, a defaulting company, if it files all the relevant documents, returns, and it gets its status activated, then it have to file the Form CFSS 2020 after expiry of this scheme within 6 months from expiry of the scheme, that is up to 31st March 2021. And how it allows defaulting inactive company to become compliant company. To file CFSS 2020 and either apply for dormancy status or apply for strike off of the name of the company. Like for inactive defaulting inactive company, there are two options available. That is to go under CFSS and file all the forms which are relevant and which are pending, and go and apply for dormancy in MSC1 form, or either to strike off its name by filing form STK2. Now, how appeals already made get affected by this scheme? If appeals are already made, then can CFSS be, can that company apply for CFSS? Where any appeal has been filed and is pending against any notice issued or complaint filed or any order passed by a court or by any adjudicating authority under the Companies Act 2013 for violation of provisions under the Act or erstwhile Act, to avail the benefit of this scheme, the applicant shall, before filing an application for issue of immunity, such appeal has to be withdrawn first, and the proof of withdrawal has to be attached with the CFSS application. If any appeal is pending, then you have to withdraw that appeal, and proof of withdrawal has to be filed along with CFSS form. Then only you can take benefit of this scheme. We will understand it more better by taking an example. What if the order of the adjudicating authority was passed but the appeal could not be filed? Means order of adjudicating authority was passed but against that appeal was not filed due to delay in filing any documents, penalties already imposed by adjudicating authority, or section 454 states that you have to file an appeal within 60 days from date on which the copy of the order by adjudicating authority is received. So if within 60 days you have not filed, then what is the remedy? Now suppose, let's take this example. Suppose on 20th December 2020, default was committed, and on 21st Feb 2020, order was received. Order from adjudicating authority was received. So from 21st Feb, within 60 days, that is on 21st April 2020, appeal has to be filed. If appeal has to be filed, filed till 21st April 2020, but company has not filed appeal, then let's see what are the remedies available. Last date for filing the appeal falls between 1st March 2020 to 31st May 2020. In our example, it is 21st April, that is, it is between 1st March 2020 to 31st May 2020. So we can get two reliefs, that is, in a period of additional 120 days shall be allowed from last date for filing the appeal. Means from 21st April 2020, from there 120 days should be count, and on till within 120 days we have to file the appeal and we have to withdraw the appeal. And second relief is no prosecution shall be initiated for non-compliance during such period of 120 days. And in case if the last date of filing appeal does not fall within this period and it falls before this period, then scheme cannot provide any relief, because if you have not filed appeal and if your appeal is not withdrawn and if you have not filed appeal, then the benefit of this scheme is not available. Now, to whom immunity certificate will not be issued? These are the categories to whom immunity certificate won't be issued. If appeal is pending before the court, we have seen in previous slide. If management dispute pending before the court or tribunal, if before this CFSS 2020 came into force, court has ordered conviction on adjudicating authority has passed the order and no appeal has been preferred against such order of the court or adjudicating authority. And last is no immunity is given where interest of any shareholder, company or its director or key managerial personnel is involved. So to these four categories, immunity certificate won't be granted. Now before moving towards the LLP settlement scheme, let us take a brief of CFSS scheme once. For defaulting companies, we have to file all the pending forms, documents to be filed by paying normal statutory fees to designated authority. Your designated authority is your your jurisdictional ROC. And making all default goods, they have to file from CFSS within 6 months of closure of the scheme. And after this CFSS form is filed, immunity certificate will be issued by designated authority, taking declaration dating on the considering all the declarations made in CFSS form. In this master circular, one example is given. Let me make it very clear that this scheme would only immunize your delayed belated filing of documents from penalty of prosecution and additional fees. Immunity shall not be only from launch of prosecution or proceedings to impose a penalty or default in filing any other consequential proceedings relating to default shall not be immunized. Like if you are contravening any of the provisions of the act, then this scheme would not immunize you from this contravention. We can take one example which is also mentioned in circular. Suppose as section 42 deals with private placement, if you are raising money through private placement, which is to be utilized once the allotment of shares has been done in PAS3, and the time limit for filing PAS3 is 15 days from date of allotment. Suppose you have not filed within 15 days this e-form PAS3, you can definitely file under CFSS PAS3 without paying additional fees. But now you have used that money without filing PAS3. So it is definitely contravention of provision of the law for utilizing the money without filing form. So it cannot be immunized under this scheme, and the company and its officer will have to pay such penalty as mentioned under section 42 subsection 10. Now let us move towards LLP settlement scheme. LLP settlement scheme were introduced in two phases. That is, one was by circular number 6 dated 4th March, and second was through circular number 13 and dated 30th March. Original scheme was introduced on 4th March, which was restricted only to, we are going to only see the difference because now original scheme is no more applicable, only modified scheme will be in force. It was only original LLP settlement scheme was restricted to only 3 or 4 forms, that is form number 3, 4, 8 and 11. Whereas in modified LLP, 12 forms are allowed to be filed under modified scheme. Documents which can be filed under old scheme was documents which are due till 31st October 2019. Whereas in case of modified, documents which are due till 31st August 2020 is allowed to be formed. Please listen carefully. Documents which are due till 31st August 2020 can be filed under modified LLP scheme that can be filed till 30th September 2020. Earlier, it was up to 13th June 2020. Now it has been extended to 30th September 2020 in line with CFSS. Earlier, additional fees at rupees 10 per day for delay subject to rupees 5,000 additional fee per document was required to be paid. But in modified scheme, no additional fees was required to be paid. No additional fees is required. Only normal fees have to be paid. And let me clear one more thing, that if any company or LLP has paid, like if under this scheme, under original LLP scheme, if any company has paid additional fees, then refund of additional fees won't be granted. If even any company have filed before this scheme come into force any additional fees penalty, then there won't be any refund of the scheme, refund of the money which has already given to the treasury of the ministry. So now I have done with the presentation part. If there are any questions, we can take. I think there are no questions by the participants. Someone has asked, Madam, can you show practically how we can opt for LLP settlement scheme? You can opt for, you have to just, there is no separate procedure to opt for this scheme. You have to just complete your filings. As in CFSS, you have to, after expiry of the scheme, you have to file form CFSS 2020. But in case of LLP, you have to just complete your filings, and you need not have to apply for any immunity certificate or anything like that. You have to just complete your previous filings. Any more questions?
Samruddhi, we have a launch one poll. Let people answer.
Okay.
And any question any participant have, kindly post in the question tab.
Yeah, actually they have posted. I am not able to see the entire box. Sir, can you please guide
You
me?
have to have pen down. Okay, let me read for you. Is there any option for companies whose name has been strike off?
Is no. For strike off companies, see, currency of this scheme is from 1st April to 30th September. So if the company is strike off, you have to apply to NCLT, and once NCLT gives you revival order, then you can apply for filing all the forms. This scheme is for active company only. If your status is strike off, then you have to first get it revived, and then only you can apply for this scheme. So if you can get revival order before 30th September, then you can file your documents, pending documents under this scheme.
One more question. Can you show practically how we can opt for LLP settlement?
Yeah, that I have explained, sir. I hope I have answered the participant's question. I have explained that already.
Okay.
Sir, I'm not able to, actually there are questions, but I'm not able to see the box.
That question box, you have to enlarge that. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
thanks also.
I got
Can you able to see
which
now?
are, yeah, sir. Which are exception form for which this scheme not applicable for companies. Sir, this form, the list of 76 form is already displayed on MCA portal. But let me tell you that forms which are of charge related and form SS7, which is to increase authorized capital, these forms are not included in the scheme. Next question is whether the company who has paid additional fees in month of March will get refund. No, definitely though they won't be getting any refund. Once the amount is paid to ministry, it is paid. We can't get back. So shall we go with this new scheme or strike off the LLP name, as there is one notification where we can strike off without filing? No, it will be my suggestion that before striking off, it is better to be compliant, no, without paying any additional fees. If you are getting this benefit, so better be compliant and then you can go for strike off. I hope, Hita Desai, I have answered your question. CA Shivhari Garg is saying, please unmute.
There is no option for unmute. We can have a, interaction in WhatsApp group.
Yeah. LLP form 8 and 11 not filed. Yes, you can file LLP form 8 and 11 as in original scheme also. 4 forms were included, form number 3, 4, 8 and 11. But there was fees to be paid. But in modified scheme, you can file Form 8 and 11 without any additional fees. Is there any option for companies whose name has been striked off and directors are disqualified? Yes. Firstly, for strike off, you have to get company revived. Then only you can apply for the scheme, and that revival order should be before 30th September. That is before this scheme gets end. So revival order, if you get revival order within time, then you can very well take benefit of this scheme. And second is where directors are disqualified. See, if your directors are disqualified, I already stated that if it is violation of any provisions of the Companies Act, then this scheme won't be giving any immunization. But yes, you have one option if your directors are disqualified. See, if your company's status is active and directors are disqualified, then you have a chance to complete your filings by appointing a director through back-end mode with your jurisdictional ROC. Through manual mode, if you can appoint one director, then you can complete your annual filings. If company is inactive and director are also disqualified, then how to do filings? If your company is inactive, then you have to file active e-form. After filing active e-form, your company status will be converted into active. And as far as directors are disqualified, if all the directors are disqualified, then you have to follow back-end procedure for appointment of one director, at least eligible one director, and you can complete your filings. If annual filing forms are pending, that also can be filed now without late fees. Yes, absolutely it can be filed. Hita Desai, I have question. Cannot see the video. Can you please explain the new LLP scheme again? Okay. LLP scheme, it is a very, it is not having much like as of CFSS. You have to simply, if you want to apply for LLP settlement scheme, you have to simply complete your filings, because almost 12 forms are covered of LLP, where you can apply under this scheme. For application, you don't have to file any application like CFSS. You just have to for complete your pending filings, and only only LLP which has applied for strike off cannot apply for this scheme. So you have to complete your filing, and by default you will become compliant LLP. Can you please explain the process of CFSS in terms of making good the non-compliance, as to whether one should first make the non-compliance good, then file CFSS form? How will the penalty be? How will the penalty be calculated? Under CFSS, you have to see, first procedure is to complete entire your pending filings. After you complete the pending filings, the CFSS form, if you have visited MCA portal will not show you CFSS form right now. CFSS form will be released by ministry after 30th September, that is after expiry of the scheme. CFSS form has to be filed from 1st October 2020 till 31st March 2021. That is after expiry of the scheme. Within 6 months from expiry, you have to file form CFSS. So before filing CFSS, you have to complete your entire filings. After your entire filings are completed, you have to file CFSS. We will see what all contents are given in CFSS. We will also see that after questions are taken. I hope, sir, we are within time.
Absolutely, there is no problem. We have sufficient time.
Okay, sir. Next is, since company has not filed any annual filing since 2012, hence directors deemed inactive, how to go ahead for company to be active and directors deactivation without late fees? See, CA Deepika Patel has asked this question. If if your status is, if director status is inactive due to non-filing of DIR KYC 3, then you have to file for first DIR KYC 3 without any late fees. The fees of 5,000 won't be levied by the system, and you have to first complete DIR KYC 3 web or DIR KYC form formality, and then your directors DIN will also be activated, and you can complete your annual filing forms. And if your company status is inactive due to, if it is inactive due to non-filing of non-filing of e-form active form, then you have to first file INC 22A, and then only you can complete the filing. If company is inactive and directors are also disqualified, then how to do filings? You have to first, I think I have answered this. You have to first file active form, and then only you can do the filings. And for disqualified directors, you have to follow back-end procedure of appointing the director, and through that you can file the annual filings. If annual forms are pending, that can also be filed without late fees. Yes. How can we incorporate new company if directors complete their DIR 3 and company also strike off by ROC? See, if ROC has strike off the name of the company and status of company is striked off by ROC, then it is purely on the basis of non-filing of annual forms. If your company's status is not active and it is strike off, you have to move towards revival of the company. And if NCLT provides you revival order, then you can definitely complete your annual filings. And as far as you have to incorporate a new company, you can incorporate, but not with these directors, because disqualification of director is not at all removed under this scheme. So you have to take directors in new company who are not disqualified. Can you please explain the process of CFSS in term of making good? This I have answered. Can you please explain the new LLP scheme again? I have answered. Can a company in liquidation under IBC file form under CFSS scheme? See, company which is under liquidation need not have to file all the forms. There are some specific forms only which are required to be filed. So they can file those forms. As vanishing company definition, default is related to 2 years. This means CFSS is applicable for 2 years default. Please guide. See, for vanishing company, we have to fulfill all the 3 criteria. In your case, default is related to 2 years only. So, if it is covered under vanishing company, then you can't take benefit under this scheme. But if you have not filed your returns for 2 years, you can take benefit of the scheme if your status is active. And there is no business during. And there is no business during from the formation of LLP. Something your question is incomplete. Hita Desai. Ma'am, your question is incomplete. 182 days is for financial year 1920 or 20 or 2021. See, let's go back to the slide. See, minimum residency in India for period of 182 days by at least one director shall not be treated as a compliance. So, if I hope this would be for 1920. This would be for financial year 1920. I think all the questions are complete now. All the questions are complete.
Wonderful session. It's nice opportunity for all of professional to have this scheme opted for the clients and settle the disputes or long pending non-compliances. Would like to request all members to take the benefit. Any unanswered question, kindly you can ask in the group. Join our WhatsApp group for the event, and any event future also if you want to join. We are doing this in lockdown season. many webinars on different subjects. So you can join. Please make sure you are added in the WhatsApp group. Link always will be in the mail, and you can join. Then it will be easy for communication. Otherwise, it will be very hectic. So just like to request all of you.
Sir, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
I
please
want to show them CFSS 2020 form.
Yeah, we have time. You can. Okay, continue then.
Yeah. Okay, sir. I hope everyone can view this circular. Everyone is able to view this circular.
Yes, your screen is visible. Circular also visible. You also visible.
Okay, sir. This is draft form of CFSS 2020 scheme. It is first 2 points are very simple. You have to just insert your SIN number and pre-fill. So address and name of the company will be pre-filled. Point number 3 states that total number of service request number, that is total number of SRN, documents under company's fresh start scheme. Means how many documents you have filed under this scheme, you have to give your numbers, and below that after every SRN your details will be automatically pre-filled. So you have to maintain record of all the SRNs which you have filed under CFSS scheme. Point number 4 is regarding whether any appeal is filed against notice. You have to mark yes or no, and if it is filed, whether any prosecution is pending. If it is pending, you have to mark yes or no, and if any appeal is filed, then you have to withdraw that appeal, and proof of withdrawal is to be attached here, attached in this form. And lastly, here only signature of this form is to be certified, digitally signed only by director. No professional signature is required. Certification of professional is not required here. After this form is filed, that is, this form is to be filed after closure of the scheme, that is after expiry of the scheme within 6 months from expiry, that is up till 31st March 2021 we have to file this scheme, file this form. This is format of immunity certificate. If you can see this table, it clearly shows that immunity certificate will be granted only for the SRNs and forms which you have filed. So it will be based on number of forms and SRNs that you are quoting in CFSS form. Now I have drafted some questions. The practical difficulties that can be faced by a professional while opting this scheme. Let us discuss those. What is the currency of this scheme means? Currency of this scheme is from 1st April 2020 to 30th September 2020. And within this time period, you have to file the forms. If you file within this time period, then you won't have to pay any additional fees. What is the tenure of LLP settlement scheme? Tenure of LLP settlement scheme is from 1st April 2020 to 30th September 2020. But you have to keep in mind that documents which are due to be filed up to 31st August 2020 can only be filed under this scheme. What is the time period for filing E-Form CFSS 2020? Is the E-Form CFSS 2020 also required to be filed within the currency of the scheme? See, time period for filing form CFSS is within 6 months from expiry of the scheme, and CFSS 2020, this form will not be deployed before 30th September. So you have to file this form after currency of the scheme expires. Whether private companies have been provided several exemptions under the law, will the CFSS have any effect on the same? See, private companies by June 2015 notification, certain exemptions were provided to private companies. But exemption to private company won't be affecting this scheme, as the applicability of CFSS is to be checked from date of filing and not the due date of filing. So already you have the company have contravened the due date. It is just under this scheme they are getting the benefit. So it don't have to, it won't be applicable here. Is there any fees for filing e-form CFSS 2020? No, there is no not any fees. Which company can avail the benefit of the scheme? All the companies can avail benefit of this scheme. All the active companies can avail benefit of the scheme. Can the benefit be taken by an active non-compliant company, that is company which has not filed INC 22A? Yes, after filing INC 22A, company can get benefit of active company without filing any additional fees. Can the benefit be availed by the directors for updating or filing KYC documents? Yes, definitely DIR 3 KYC or DIR 3 KYC web can be filed by the directors without any additional fees. Can benefit of scheme be taken by a company which has been struck off and appeal is pending before the NCLT? See, if your appeal is pending before NCLT, then definitely this scheme is not applicable. And if your company is struck off, then also this scheme is not applicable. If you get your strike off status revived, if you get a company revived within currency of the scheme, then you can take benefit of the scheme. Can foreign companies take benefit of CFSS for doing belated filings? Yes, definitely foreign companies can take this benefit. Is the scheme available to Nidhi company? Yes, all active Nidhi companies can take benefit of the scheme. What kind of delay is covered in default which can be cured by availing the scheme? See, the immunity from such prosecution or proceeding shall only be applicable to extent that default is associated with any delay pertaining to filing of document that is to be made with ROC. The same will not be extended to any non-compliances done under the Act. So it is very clear that you can get benefit only or regarding delay in filing, not against any contravention of law made. How to file firms where all the directors of the company are disqualified? If all the directors of the company are disqualified, you have to follow back-end procedure for appointing a new director which is eligible to be appointed as a director as per Companies Act, and you can take benefit of the scheme. AGM has not been held in time. Can CFSS help? See, if AGM holding of AGM is again covered under Companies Act, you have to hold AGM within the time period mentioned. If you have not hold the AGM, then you have to take extension from concern authority for extension of AGM. And again, under this scheme, there won't be any immunity given for non-holding of AGM as it is contravention of law. Next is additional fees is still showing in inquiry fees menu on MCA portal, whether it needs to be updated on portal. See, one tab is there on MCA portal, inquiry fees. If you go to that and you insert your details, then then it will show that additional fees will be charged if you use that tab. See, this scheme is only for some time of some period of time. It is temporary. It is not permanent. So that inquiry fees tab won't be showing the result of this scheme. So better you have to generate the challan, and in that challan you will see additional fees as needed. Is the e-form CFSS 2020 currently available on MCA portal for e-filing? If not, when will the form be made available? Form is not available on portal. It will be made available from 1st October after expiry of the scheme. Can the benefit of CFSS be extended and availed where the timeline for name reservation has expired? See, this scheme is not applicable for incorporation forms. Yes, but you can for increasing timeline of 20 days, there is no such provision under this form. But you can definitely raise the ticket and you ask for extending or giving one more chance if your time period has expired. Maybe due to lockdown situation, MCA may allow you one more time. So it is purely their discretion. But as far as CFSS is concerned, there is no such timeline extension granted. E-Form INC 20A for commencement of business has not been filed. Can CFSS help? Yes, you can file this form. This form is regarding commencement of business declaration to be given after incorporation of company within 6 months. And again, your amendment is done from incorporation without any addition. Has made some mistake in filing annual statements or any other form. Will CFSS also grant immunity to cure such mistake by refiling the forms? The CFSS is granting immunity only for belated filings. So all other defaults and departures has to be cured or rectified as per the provisions of the law. So there won't be any immunity for such mistakes. Why are the charge form excluded, kept out of ambit of this scheme? Charge forms are excluded because they have certain implication under other laws as well, like insolvency and bankruptcy code. Accordingly, delay in filing charge forms will not be immunized here. What if the forms are filed but the CFSS is not filed within March 30th, 2021? The late filing fees and additional fees penalty prosecution is waived off under this scheme. Just it is assumed that you will be filing CFSS and avail the immunity. If you don't file immunity form, then you may have to pay all these additional fees which is waived off under this scheme. You have to face penalty and prosecution. Is any form required to be filed under LLPSS for purpose of getting immunity from the additional fees like E-Form CFSS 2020 under company? Sorry, it is under company fresh start scheme. It is not under company law settlement scheme. No, unlike CFSS, no separate E-Form is required to be filed. The registrar for getting immunity as the defaulting LLPs will straight away get the same at the time of filing the pending E-Forms itself. So they need not have to apply separately for any immunity certificate. Sir, I hope now all the questions are also answered. Thank you all the participants for listening patiently. Though it was a noon time session, after lunch is hectic for everyone. Though you all have supported and interacted very well. Thank you once again. Thank you, Virat.
It's because of your active, explanation, interesting way of presentation, and wonderful presentation as well. So, all credit to you. Thank you so much. Thank you all participants. We are now ending the session here, ending the webinar here.